She walked through the gates of Wimbledon with her right arm wrapped in tape. Most people saw the tape. The people paying closer attention saw something even more worrying. In just 22 days, she had battled through 12 exhausting professional matches, survived one of the toughest stretches of her young career, and only 48 hours earlier had walked off the court after a straight-set defeat. On paper, everything suggested one thing: fatigue. Doubt. A player arriving at the biggest tournament in the world, running on empty. But the moment Alex Eala stepped onto those famous grounds, that story disappeared. She didn't look defeated. She didn't carry herself like someone recovering from a loss. She looked like someone who believed she belonged exactly where she was. And that's where this story becomes far bigger than a taped arm or a recent defeat. Because while the tennis world focused on the obvious, almost nobody noticed the incredible chain of events that brought her here. How does a 21-year-old from the Philippines survive one of the busiest schedules on tour, arrive carrying physical pain, earn one of the most valuable positions in the Wimbledon draw, and somehow turn the player she had just defeated in a championship final into her doubles partner only days later? The answer says everything about who Alex Eala is becoming. Just 2 days before Wimbledon officially began, Alex Eala walked onto the grass courts in Bad Homburg, Germany, facing one of the tour's most experienced competitors, Elise Mertens. The Belgian veteran had won multiple WTA titles, spent years competing against the world's best, and understood exactly how to punish even the smallest drop in energy. At first, Alex looked ready for another upset. She earned an early break and briefly controlled the match. Then everything changed. The momentum disappeared almost instantly. Mertens found another gear, rattled off 8 consecutive games, and closed the match in straight sets, 6-3, 6-3, in just 84 minutes. It wasn't simply the score that caught everyone's attention. It was the way Alex looked. Her arm was heavily taped. Her movement lacked its usual explosiveness. For the first time in weeks, exhaustion seemed impossible to hide. Suddenly, the questions came from everywhere. Had she pushed herself too hard? Had the demanding schedule finally caught up with her? Was the biggest tournament of the season about to become the moment where everything unraveled? Those concerns weren't unreasonable. Since the beginning of June, Alex had barely stopped competing. Birmingham, Berlin, Bad Homburg. Week after week, match after match, constantly traveling, constantly adapting, constantly asking more from her body. Most players would have welcomed extra rest before Wimbledon. Alex kept playing. Some analysts openly questioned whether it had been the wrong decision. They argued she had sacrificed freshness for momentum. They wondered if arriving physically drained would erase everything she had built during the previous month. Even loyal supporters started feeling nervous. Filipino fans watching from Manila, London, Dubai, New York, and countless other places couldn't ignore the signs. They had seen promising moments before. They knew how quickly momentum could disappear in professional tennis. Many quietly asked themselves the same painful question: was history about to slip away again? But what almost nobody realized was that the real reward for those exhausting weeks had already been secured long before she lost to Mertens. Every difficult match, every long rally, every aching muscle had quietly added something much more valuable than another trophy. While critics were counting her fatigue, the rankings were counting something else. Points. Enough points to transform her Wimbledon experience completely. Because of everything she had accomplished during that relentless stretch, including winning Birmingham and producing stunning victories over elite opponents in Berlin, Alex Eala achieved something no Filipino player had ever accomplished in Grand Slam history. She entered Wimbledon as the tournament's number 29 seed. At first glance, that small number beside her name might not seem extraordinary. But inside professional tennis, it changes everything. It means respect. It means protection. It means every result from the previous months has earned you a place among the tournament's most dangerous players. While dozens of unseeded competitors were forced into brutal opening battles with no margin for error, Alex had earned the advantage of entering the draw from a position that reflected everything she had accomplished. She hadn't been handed that opportunity. She had fought through 12 demanding matches in just over 3 weeks to earn it. That tiny number beside her name represented every painful practice, every comeback, every difficult decision to keep playing when resting would have been easier. And there was another reason this achievement mattered far beyond the Philippines. Almost nobody reported it properly. 17 years. That's how long Southeast Asia had waited to see one of its own enter a Grand Slam singles draw as a seeded player. 17 years without anyone from the region breaking through that barrier. Then Alex changed the story. Suddenly, one young Filipina wasn't just representing her country. She was carrying the hopes of an entire region that had spent nearly 2 decades waiting for someone to prove it could be done. That accomplishment deserved headlines around the world. Instead, it quietly slipped beneath the radar while attention focused elsewhere. But the most unbelievable twist hadn't even happened yet. Because hidden inside this incredible journey was a story so unusual that even longtime tennis fans could hardly believe it. Only a few weeks earlier in Birmingham, Alex found herself standing in the singles final against rising Czech player Nikola Bartunkova. It looked like another opportunity. In reality, it looked like another nightmare. Before that final, Alex had never defeated a Czech opponent on the professional tour. Match after match, tournament after tournament, the results always ended the same way. Different opponents. Same outcome. Czech players had become the one obstacle she simply couldn't solve. The pattern had grown impossible to ignore. Every loss made the pressure even heavier the next time she faced another player from the Czech Republic. Then Birmingham arrived. And once again, history seemed determined to repeat itself. Bartunkova captured the opening set 7-5, putting Alex on the brink of another heartbreaking defeat. Everything pointed toward another painful chapter in a streak that refused to end. But sometimes the biggest breakthroughs arrive when every previous experience tells you they're impossible. Alex refused to disappear. She fought through every game with remarkable composure, escaped enormous pressure, saved crucial breakpoints, and slowly turned the entire match around. She claimed the second set 6-3 before battling through a gripping deciding set, eventually winning 7-5 after nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes of relentless tennis. It wasn't simply another trophy. It was freedom. The losing streak against Czech opponents was finally over. A barrier that had haunted her career had completely collapsed. And yet, unbelievably, that wasn't even the strangest part of the story. Because before meeting in that championship match, Alex and Bartunkova had already been teammates. They had entered the doubles event together earlier that same week. They practiced together. They competed together. Then suddenly they were forced to become opponents with a championship hanging in the balance. Most partnerships don't survive situations like that. Competitive losses can create awkwardness. They can damage trust. They can quietly end relationships inside the locker room. Many assumed their partnership would disappear the moment the trophy ceremony ended. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. Days later, when Wimbledon arrived, they chose to stay together. The player Alex had defeated in one of the biggest matches of her career remained her doubles partner. Think about that for a moment. One week you're trying to stop someone from winning a title. The next week you're standing beside that same person hoping to win together. Professional tennis is filled with rivalries, fragile relationships, and constant competition. Yet these two young players separated the battle from the friendship. They understood something many athletes never do. Yesterday's opponent doesn't have to become tomorrow's enemy. That decision revealed something important about Alex Eala. She doesn't waste energy holding on to old matches. She moves forward faster than almost anyone around her. And that mindset would soon become more important than ever. By the time Wimbledon officially began, Alex Eala wasn't simply carrying a racket onto center court. She was carrying expectations that stretched far beyond her own career. Every interview, every practice session, every photograph taken on those famous grass courts carried the weight of history. For 17 years, no Southeast Asian player had entered a Grand Slam singles draw with a seed beside their name. Entire generations had dreamed about reaching that milestone. Many had come close. None had crossed the line. Now one 21-year-old from the Philippines had done it. That number beside her name wasn't decoration. It was proof that she had earned a place among the tournament's most respected players. But history has a way of creating pressure just as quickly as it creates celebration. While Alex was trying to prepare for the biggest tournament of her life, another story exploded across the tennis world. One of the greatest champions the sport had ever seen was returning. Serena Williams was back at Wimbledon. After years away from singles competition, the 7-time Wimbledon champion stepped onto the grass once again with a wild card entry. Cameras followed her everywhere. Every practice attracted crowds. Every headline seemed to begin with her name. The entire tennis world suddenly revolved around one comeback. Fans debated whether Serena could make one more magical run. Television crews rushed to capture every movement. Social media exploded with excitement. For many players, that kind of attention would have been intimidating. But something fascinating happened. While everyone else was watching Serena, Alex quietly continued preparing for her own opportunity. She wasn't chasing headlines. She wasn't asking for attention. She simply kept doing what had brought her this far. That calm confidence said more than any interview ever could. She understood something many young athletes struggle to accept. You don't need to be the loudest story in the room if you're writing your own. Still, the doubts refused to disappear completely. The tape remained on her arm. Analysts continued discussing whether she had overloaded her schedule. Some predicted an early exit, arguing that no player could maintain such intensity for so many consecutive weeks. Others questioned whether her body would recover in time. From the outside, those concerns seemed reasonable. 12 matches in 22 days is demanding even for experienced veterans. For a young player chasing history, it looked almost impossible. But numbers never tell the complete story. Because those same 12 matches had transformed Alex into a different competitor. She had learned how to win under pressure. She had survived marathon battles. She had defeated elite opponents. She had lifted a grass court trophy. Every difficult match added something no practice session could ever teach. Experience, confidence, belief. Sometimes the body feels tired, but the mind becomes stronger than ever. That was the version of Alex arriving at Wimbledon. Physically tested, mentally transformed. And that's exactly why the critics may have been looking at the wrong evidence. They saw fatigue. They didn't see growth. Then came another powerful reminder of just how far she had climbed. Only 2 years earlier, Wimbledon had been a completely different experience. Back then, Alex wasn't entering as one of the tournament's seeded players. She wasn't protected in the draw. She wasn't viewed as a threat. She was simply another young player trying to fight her way through qualifying, hoping someone would finally notice her potential. She watched the main draw from the outside, wondering when her chance would come. Fast forward to today, and everything had changed. She wasn't standing outside the door anymore. She had walked through it. Her name wasn't hidden deep in the qualifying list. It was sitting proudly in the official draw alongside the biggest stars in tennis. The journey between those two moments tells you everything about perseverance. Success rarely arrives overnight. It arrives one difficult decision at a time. One painful loss. One breakthrough victory. One extra hour of work when nobody is watching. Alex had lived every one of those moments. That is why this Wimbledon felt different. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a surprise ranking. It was earned. Across the Philippines, something remarkable was happening. People who had never followed professional tennis suddenly knew exactly when Alex would play. Families woke up before sunrise to watch matches. Students checked scores during classes. Workers followed updates during breaks. Overseas Filipinos stayed awake through the night despite work the next morning. Family group chats that usually talked about birthdays and daily life suddenly filled with tennis highlights and predictions. She wasn't just attracting sports fans anymore. She was creating entirely new ones. That may be one of the greatest achievements any athlete can accomplish. Winning trophies is unforgettable. Inspiring millions to care about a sport they never watched before is even bigger. Every swing of her racket carried that responsibility. Yet she never looked overwhelmed by it. If anything, the pressure seemed to sharpen her focus. Because this wasn't only about chasing personal success anymore. Every victory opened another door for the next generation of young Filipino players dreaming about Wimbledon. Somewhere, a child picking up a tennis racket for the first time was watching Alex and thinking, maybe I can do that too. That's how history changes. Not through one match, but through the belief one athlete gives an entire generation. And perhaps that's the most remarkable part of Alex Eala's story. She never needed dramatic speeches to inspire people. She simply kept showing up. She kept competing. She kept proving that limits exist mainly to be challenged. A taped arm couldn't stop her. A brutal schedule couldn't stop her. A losing streak against Czech players couldn't stop her. The pressure of carrying an entire region couldn't stop her either. Every obstacle became another chapter instead of the ending. When you look back at everything that happened before Wimbledon, the story almost feels impossible. She survived one of the toughest stretches of the season. She won the biggest grass court title of her career. She defeated top players. She ended a long-standing mental barrier. She earned a historic Grand Slam seed. She walked into the world's most famous tennis tournament carrying physical pain while still believing the best tennis was ahead of her. That's not the story of someone running out of energy. That's the story of someone discovering just how much strength they truly have. Years from now, people may remember the results. They'll remember the rankings, the trophies, and the statistics. But those numbers will never fully explain what made this moment special. The real story was the courage to keep moving when stopping would have been easier. The willingness to embrace pressure instead of avoiding it. The confidence to stand on the same grass where legends built their legacy and quietly believe that you belong there too. Wimbledon has always been a place where dreams are tested before they're fulfilled. Every champion has walked those grounds carrying doubts, expectations, and impossible pressure. Alex arrived carrying all of that, along with a taped arm and 22 unforgettable days that changed her career forever. The remarkable part isn't that she made it to Wimbledon. The remarkable part is how she arrived. Stronger than the headlines suggested. Calmer than the critics expected. More prepared than almost anyone realized. Because sometimes history doesn't announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it walks quietly through the gates, wearing tape on its arm, carrying a racket in one hand and the hopes of millions in the other. And when that history is written, people won't remember the tape. They'll remember the courage behind it. They'll remember the young Filipina who refused to let exhaustion define her, who turned every setback into another step forward, and who proved that belief can carry you further than anyone thinks possible. The story of Alex Eala at Wimbledon was never about surviving another tournament. It was about announcing to the tennis world that a new chapter had already begun. And if everything she accomplished before arriving on those legendary grass courts is any indication, the most unforgettable moments of her journey are still waiting to be written.